just to kind of what you were saying earlier, it is true that there are states that have minimum wage higher than the federal minimum, or they're linked with it. In fact, according to the National Conference of State Legislators, there's 13 out of 50, which is 26%, so a little more than a quarter, whose wages are actually tied to the federal minimum wage. And of the 50 states, 19 states have to increase their current minimum wage higher than the federal minimum wage, just to stay up with the cost of living. And that's according to Paul Sun, writer from the economy that will work for all of us. And because the federal minimum wage is $7.25 right now, which is really low. Economists say that studies comparing communities adjacent to state borders where minimum wage differs, they found employment did not meaningfully decrease in the areas paying higher wage, and this is according to the Wall Street Journal. And that by increasing the workers' take-home pay, families gain both financial security and an increased ability to purchase goods and services, thus creating jobs for other Americans. To further reinforce what my partner was saying earlier about not being able to live anywhere, the National Low Income Housing Coalition states that in Arkansas and West Virginia, which are the lowest or the most affordable rent, a person with a minimum wage job would have to work 63 hours a week to rent a 2-bedroom apartment. And then to name another few, California, Maryland, Washington, D.C., New Jersey, and as you said, New York require at least 130, with the big one probably being 180. So people literally can't afford to live anywhere with wages this low. Raising the minimum wage will not result in a decrease in jobs. According to the Harkin-Miller proposal, to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 by 2016 is a worthwhile improvement, yet still will be what the economy could sustain. Anything too much higher, the economy will just collapse. Raising the minimum wage will also allow business to grow. It can provide a modest boost for overall economic activity because it shifts income to workers who are very likely to spend it immediately, according to David Cooper from the Economic Policy Institute. Because basically people who work in minimum wage jobs, who have to work 2 jobs or so, they're not the type of people who are going to put half of their check into savings accounts for a rainy day or something like that, because they can't do that. They live day to day, paycheck to paycheck. And that extra cash flow into their pockets is going to go back into local businesses, and that's going to in turn boost the economy. Also, the Economic Policy Institute states that across the phase-in period of the minimum wage increase, GDP will increase by roughly $25 billion. This results in estimated 100,000 new jobs created over that period of the phasing in. And to touch on what my opponent was saying earlier, that raising the minimum wage to $20, not only would that be near the collapse of the limit of the collapse of the economy, but minimum wage linked from the 1960s to GDP now, it would be about $18 an hour. So it's not that far off. And by having a higher wage for the normal standard of living, some of the burden of the government and state support for people living in poverty would be lifted. This is from an article written for the Time to Raise Benefits and Raising Minimum Wage, Time for a Raise. Basically, it's saying that if the minimum wage was increased to a level at which families could sustain themselves, fewer people may end up needing government assistance for housing, food, and health care. This would be a significant benefit to taxpayers and states' budgets. There'd be less financial aid and stuff for that. So more money is freed up for the economy. Yeah, that's it.